Don't forget that this tutorial is part of a series of tutorials which you can access on our YouTube playlist, or alternatively, if you would like to, you can purchase the whole course on Udemy. There should be a link to the YouTube playlist and a link to our Udemy course, which should always provide the best price in the video description. In addition to having the search option, it can be useful to have some sort of filter to filter records based upon certain fields. Right, so using a filter is probably best done when we have, for example, a field with a choice. So in this case, in our products table, we have choices here in this field, stock status. So there's 3 choices: in stock, out of stock, and back ordered. So that might be a good example of using a filtered system. Now, doing this, in actual fact, we will learn that there's a few errors or things that we need to consider in this model if we are going to use it with the Django admin. Similar to the category table where we had to change the foreign keys so that we could work with it successfully in the Django admin. So first of all, let's go ahead and create a new class for the product. So it's going to be product admin. And then let's go ahead and add a list filter. Really easy to do. List filter equals, and then we just need to specify the field with the list filter. In this case, it's the stock status. So we go ahead and put that in place. Okay, yep, put that in place. And once that is done, we will need to update the register feature. So we're going to need to pass in the customizations. Okay. So that's the product admin setup. Now we can probably already view that. If we go back into our admin, go to products, you can now see on the right-hand side here, we have the filters option: in stock, out of stock, back ordered. So we can select from that to filter out the products that are displayed in the list. Now, the problem that we have at the moment, which you might want to think about fixing now, is that if we go into the add products here, we try to add a new product, there's a few different options. So we need to remember that there are relationships between tables and they are enforced by default. So the foreign keys that we have set in the models, they are set by default, so they have to be populated. Now, the problem we have at the moment is we do have some categories at the moment, so we can select a category, but the problem is we don't have any seasonal events, or else we haven't included any product types yet. We haven't defined any product types. So we may want to create products where the seasonal event isn't an issue. We don't want to always apply or assign a product to a seasonal event. And maybe we don't always also with the product type. So we need to remember, not only do we need to set the null to true, but in addition to that, we also need to set the second option, the blank option, so that the any forms and the Django admin form will also know that that field will not need to be entered. So following my own business rules for this, I will need to first of all add a product type to be able to assign this product to a product type. And then I will also then need to update the seasonal event to include the blank equals true, so that in the Django admin, I don't need to enter anything here. So if I do press save, I am told that this field is required. So let's go ahead and fix this. Now let's go into the models. So let's take a look at the product first, and we'll go down to the seasonal events. So null has been set to true, but we forgot to use the blank equals true because we want to administrate this within the Django admin. So we'll set that, and we do then the many-to-many. Okay, so this is a many-to-many. So we can ignore that for now because we are going to be in the admin registering this table. So this is the product type table. So let's go ahead and add that in the admin. And then we can go ahead and just admin.site.register that. So we can populate that. So I'm not resetting the server. The server is turned on. So I can just go back now and refresh. We should now have go back to products and refresh. We should have now product types. So let's add a product type. Let's go for close. Let's press save. So you can see the parent is an issue. So that's something else I need to deal with. So let's go back into the models. So this is the product type. Let's quickly find that. It's going to be further up. So the parent. So we're going to need to make sure that this is set to null equals true, and then also blank equals true. So we can use it in the admin and in forms without having to enter anything. Okay, so with that set, we probably will need to do now a migration. So let's bring up the terminal. Let's Control C to quit the server, clear that, and then I'll go ahead and make migrations and migrate. Apply those updates, and then we'll go ahead and run the server again, and we'll take a look. See if we can now go ahead and save. We can. Of course, you probably want to now include the dunder string. So we did do that up here, so we can just copy that down to the product type. And then we'll set the name. We don't need to specify anything there. It's the same. So we specified the dunder string. So we can go back and now refresh. That should show us now the actual name of the type. So now we can go into products and add a new product. So let's just make this up. So let's just call this shoe one. The slug, shoe one, and then description, and then set some other settings here. So the category is going to be whatever the category is. Remember, now we don't need to apply that, and then we can specify the product type. We'll just select the product type. In this case, press save, and now we have a new product. You can see that the product doesn't have a name, or we'll probably need a more human readable friendly name for the product. So let's go down to the product. Now the product user's name. Okay, so we'll just add that at the bottom there. Do be careful with the indentation of the function. So I've indented that once, and let's go back in Safari and refresh. We now have the name of the shoe. Right, so we can now go ahead and filter. Okay, so you can see that in actual fact, if I filter out of stock, shoe one is actually out of stock at the moment, or it's been set to out of stock. So that was quite a challenge. There was nothing new there, apart from adding the filter, of course. Every other task that we performed was what we have already learned in the previous tutorial. So hopefully that was a good recap, a good refresher, and also a real application of using that knowledge.